The idea of cash flow or passive income from properties isn't even in our vocabulary. Most people in California buy negative cash flow properties because that's all there was. It's better now. You can get cash flow, but in the Bay Area, not so much. It's hard. So one of the best reasons to buy real estate today is not because it might grow in value, it's because it gives you money every month, cash flow every month. So let's talk about how it works. Of course, you get income whether you're working or not. That's fabulous. It's the #1 reason to buy real estate today. And if you talk to anybody who lives between the coasts, they understand cash flow investing. That's why they ever bought real estate, because real estate in the Midwest historically never really appreciated that much anyway, but was known for fabulous cash flow. So that's just the kind of investing they know. Because today is a cash flow market, that's why we bring out people from the Midwest, because they get it, they understand it. It's not new to them. It's the way they've always done things. So we need them to come and teach us. That's why we're always bringing these people out to say, how are you doing it? How have you built your wealth? You haven't relied on appreciation, so what are you doing? And that's why we have all these different kinds of events to understand it. But as I said, today is, and this is what I say on the news all the time, what better time to buy real estate? Even though everybody's so afraid of it, that's actually a good reason to buy. Just last month, there was the highest number of cancellations with contracts because people couldn't get financing. Financing is so strict right now because the secondary market's just not there. Nobody's buying U.S. mortgages anymore, so there's not this endless supply of money to feed mortgages. So banks don't have an endless supply anymore. They can borrow at almost zero from the government, but they don't have anyone to sell it to. So because they can't just play hot potato, take a loan and give it to someone else, they got to keep these loans. They're making better decisions. That's a good thing. But what that means is fewer people can qualify for mortgages. Now, again, the media is going to look at this as a terrible thing. But as a buyer, this is a fantastic thing. Because what happens is when financing's easier, more people get in, more people can buy. When financing's tough, very few people can buy. Although today, 30% of all buyers are cash buyers. So there's people out there with money. There's a lot of people with money. And those are the people coming in and buying because they've got cash. What happens when there's not a lot of buyers? Prices go down. You don't have as much competition. You've got all this inventory, and you get to pick the best of the best. So it's, for people in a buying position, this is a fantastic time. When financing comes back, and it will, what's going to happen to prices? It's going to go up again. So if you're a buyer, you got to love and appreciate the fact that financing's so tough, because that's what's keeping prices down, and that's what's allowing you to get your best pickings. It's not great for our economy, but again, you got to always look at what side are we on here. If we're on the buying side and we're trying to get deals, this is the time, because there's not a lot of competition, and yet there's a lot of people selling, and you can get really good inventory for very cheap. Whereas at the beginning of this global economic crisis, people started to see deals and they started jumping in and they were buying a lot of junk. Well, now you could buy nice stuff for the same price. So it's really, there's a lot of opportunity. And then of course with mortgage rates so low, if you can qualify for a loan, the mortgage rates are at the lowest they've ever been, and you can lock it in for 30 years. Can you imagine what's going to happen to rents over 30 years with the kind of inflation we're seeing? And then to imagine just 10 years from now, 20 years from now, your little mortgage payment at 4 or 5% compared to the rents. So as an investor, you're just going to be getting increased cash flow every year because you have locked in a low payment. And as a homeowner, you've locked in a monthly payment that you don't have to worry about for 30 years. And let's say you don't want to live in that house. Nobody really lives anywhere for 30 years anymore. So let's say you buy and move on. Well, your chances of renting out that property for more than your monthly payment are very, very good. And so I do recommend if you're buying your primary, do that because you can still get a loan for 3.5%, lock in that 30-year rate, and make some great cash flow. And then of course rent ratios are the best they've been, and certainly in my experience. And I've only been doing this for 12 years, but I work with a lot of people who have been in real estate for 20, 30, even 40 years. And they say they've never seen rent ratios like this. It used to be that if you bought a $100,000 property, you might get $600 a month. That would be good, $600 to $700. Now, if you buy a $100,000 property, you might get $2,000 a month. That's rare, but it's out there. We have some properties on our website that cost around $50,000 that rent for $1,000 a month. It's crazy. Don't think that's everywhere. It would be more typical that a $50,000 property would rent for around $700. Still, it's fantastic. Like I said, never seen rent ratios like this before. But as a general rule, if it's not at least 1% of purchase price, meaning a $100,000 property should rent for at least $1,000 a month. That's 1%. If it's not at least that, you're not getting good cash flow, in my opinion.